Today we will briefly check out the difference between the static mesh and the skeletal mesh. First up, we have the static mesh. You want to use the static mesh type for objects that are basically inanimated. So basically objects that are static. However, technically it is possible to animate static meshes through shader programming. Because through a shader you are able to move the vertices of a 3D model directly, which also can count as an animation of some sort. However, if you have a more complex character model and you need finer control for the animation, then you will rig this 3D model. That means you link the 3D model to a skeleton. And through the so-called bones of a skeleton, you are able to move specific areas of your character, which enables you to properly animate your character. When you check the assets for a skeleton mesh, you will see that you have a skeleton asset, which basically is the bone hierarchy. And you also have a skeleton mesh, which is the mesh that is linked to the skeleton. So you are able to reuse a skeleton across multiple skeleton meshes, as long as they support the same bone hierarchy. And that's why you will find a lot of animation assets on the marketplace that are mapped to the Unreal Engine skeleton, since it makes it easier to reuse those animations across various characters. If you want to use your static mesh or skeleton mesh inside a blueprint, you have to provide a static mesh component or skeleton mesh component respectively. Both of those components are scene components. Therefore, they have properties like location, rotation, and scale. For the static mesh component, you can provide the static mesh that you want to use. For the skeleton mesh component, you can provide the skeleton mesh and an animation blueprint. The animation blueprint is basically what drives the animations of your character at runtime, by selecting an appropriate animation based on certain states of your character. Of course, there's way more stuff that you can do with both of those object types, like setting up a static mesh for nanite or creating physics assets for skeleton meshes. However, now you already know the difference between the static mesh and skeleton mesh. Like always, if you have any questions or topics that you are interested in, leave them in the comments. Otherwise, see you next time.